Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where as you can see I've made a couple of alterations here. I've strutted these together so that should be much more stable now. I've also added in some extra SRBs on here because I decided to increase our liquid fuel only in these tanks, so we have some extra liquid fuel for our transit stage here. We can always land on this liquid fuel, I think. Well, no, we definitely should be able to. So our stage 4 lander is going to only be 0.32 thrust to weight over Ike right now, but we're going to burn out a lot of this fuel on the way over. So that should be reasonably fine. And we can always fire up our poodles as an assistance for the landing if we need to. So I'm not too concerned about that. I've got our Kerbals good to go here, and we're ready to launch this thing. So let's do it. We're going to hop out onto the pad, and the frame rate's going to be not the greatest thing in the world. There's a lot of parts here, and we're going to need to just allow it to chug its way through this. KSP has never been amazingly well optimized with these sorts of monstrosities, but you gotta remember, we're doing functionally 5 missions with 1 launch here. Arguably 6, because of the return mission of the Kerbals from Duna. Arguably 6 missions with 1 launch. So that's going to be a whole thing, right? So let's load this on in, and we're going to put this on kill rot as soon as it's loaded. There we go. Fantastic. We're going to throttle up and double check the staging. I did check it just now off camera. It should be good. Yes. Looks great. And speaking of great, this frame rate. Oh yeah, gotta love it. Off we go. And we're just going to go straight up-ish until we get to about 200 meters per second. And then we're going to just start heading on over. I'm going to hop into orbital mode right now. Actually, no, we want to be on surface mode for the moment. So about 200 meters per second vertically is what we're targeting here. Cool, that's 150. And we're about to 200. There we go. Now we're going to start heading over very slowly towards orbital prograde. Cool. We don't want to go too quickly. We don't want to start a tumble. But we're just going to head on over here. Orbital prograde is also slowly moving towards us right now. I'm just going to hold here for a moment, and now we're going to head back over towards prograde. SRBs are going to be detaching in the eventual times. But that's not quite now. Yeah, we're just pulling that surface velocity marker on over. For now, I'm more targeting this 45-degree marker. Cool. We're just continuing to head over and get some additional horizontal speed here. We're basically in the orbital prograde marker, so I'm just going to lock to that for right now. SRBs are about to detach. Excellent. Clean SRB detachment there. And as those parts fall away and unload and get destroyed, our frame rate will improve over time. We're at 50 kilometer apoapsis right now, but we see some heating effects happening here, so I'm going to continue poking here, or parking here, rather. We're going to go to horizontal velocity up once we hit 70. There we go. Let's head to horizontal velocity up and hope that we don't start a tumble. Looks good. Beautiful. So we're going to burn here until we have an apoapsis height of 100 kilometers. Just working up that horizontal speed as best we can. We are going to have our side boosters detaching in about 5 seconds here, but these aren't real seconds. 2, 1, and detach. Cool. There we go. As those head out and unload, that will lessen the strain on the system, so that's good. Cool. We can see that we are high enough for our apoapsis, so we're just going to hop in here and circularize this. Just a little bit of prograde there. Cool, that's good enough. And we'll head on over to the node. So we're currently at an altitude of about 64 kilometers. We will start to extend our solar panels and antennae soon. We'll just wait until we hit space for that, which is now. So we'll start to get these going. Get out of here, flight engineer. You're in the way. Extend that antenna. We'll extend this antenna. We'll extend this solar panel. We'll extend this solar panel. We're not extending all of them at this time, but we're going to get this one going. This one. Transmit that data. No, don't transmit data. What are we doing? I don't know what data we're transmitting. We're just extending the antennas. There we go. Cool. And we will extend this solar panel. We're not going to extend the other 4 solar panels that we have on this, but this one we should. There we go. So with that all underway, we can now warp forward the next minute or so. 40 seconds, 30, 20, 10, and 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Cool. So we can see here that we only have 683 meters per second in this stage. That's not true. We're going to use our liquid fuel that's out here and move it into here as we burn it. It's just that the game doesn't quite know what we're doing with that because I didn't do it via fuel ducts. We're just going to do it manually. So that's absolutely fine. This is a one-time thing. We don't need it to be permanently set up like that. We've got about a minute left on this circularization burn, which feels like a long time for this burn. But, I mean, our thrust to weight is 0.64. Yeah, it's a lot lower than we're used to. This is a very, very, very heavy payload, so we're not shocked about that. Do we dare to physics warp with this kind of frame rate? Kinda, yeah. This is relatively stable. That doesn't seem like a problem. Cool. So that looks absolutely great there. We've got about 5 more seconds of burn time here. 2, 1, and that should be good enough. Beautiful. Now the question is, are we in a good position to get to Duna from here directly? I would have to guess no. So we're going to push out over this direction. And we'll set Duna as our target. We'll grab our maneuver and just push this right on out. The game thinks that we don't have the Delta V to do this. It is wrong. To be clear, it is wrong. So yeah, this timing isn't correct. So we're going to need to back off here a bit. To about here. We'll go to about here. Okay. That looks reasonably fine. Let's align to this node. And we should pin open these 4 tanks right now. We'll put these over here. There we go. And then I'm going to pin open this tank, and I'll put this one up here. Cool. So let's get set up for this burn. Wait, this burn is supposed to be 2 minutes ago? I guess we can add an orbit to it. That shouldn't cause any major issues. Okay, there we go. Apparently this is going to be a 32-minute burn. Now, I know that this thrust to weight is going to be incredibly low. A 32-minute burn seems a wee bit problematic, though. It does, doesn't it? This isn't thrust limited. It's just going to be a 32-minute burn. How do we want to handle that? Well, a Cherenkov would definitely have been better here. There's no doubt about that. This was always a bad solution, but we needed to be able to land on it, and the Cherenkov is just so tall. So we could have shortened this tank, I suppose. It's just a crazy amount of burn time. Absolutely crazy, that amount of burn time. Well, we'll warp around and we'll give it a go. We'll see how this goes. Remember, we can always stop by the station at Duna for refueling if we need to. That is an option. So we're going to bring this on around. This feels really strange. Okay. I think we might need more oomph in this stage here, which would mean moving fuel from here down to here. I would prefer not to do that. But this feels like a non-viable burn when we're starting it here. That does feel non-viable to me. Once we get out of Kerbin's influence, it should be fine. So if we were to pin these guys open here, and yes, I know that we're going to be bypassing the start of this burn. If we were to pin these guys open, and then move that fuel here, we can see that the burn time is changing. Yeah. That's a lot better. We can also move fuel in here. We can grab all of this fuel. We know that we should be fine landing on just this engine on Ike. If we feel like we are not going to be fine, we could send a refueling mission, but I would prefer not to. We're just going to grab all of this fuel out of here. And that puts us on a much, much more viable setup here, I feel like. As long as we get out of the Kerbin influence here, right? Yeah, this should be much, much better. That'll also mean that our thrust to weight here will be, well, still about the same, actually. Or is it? Well, this definitely went up in its delta V, so that should be okay. We'll just burn that off for now. We've got about 20 seconds, 10, and 3, 2, 1, mark. Now, this first section of the burn is going to be the fastest section, for sure. This last little bit here is going to be the slow section. And that's okay. We'll see if we even need to burn it. I think we will, but we'll see. Cool. It's going to be a very long burn getting us there and braking, though. That's for sure. Okay, coming out of the physics warp. And off we go incredibly slowly. So what is our current trajectory? Our current trajectory puts us here. Okay, so we're going to physics warp a bit. That said, we can see how much we're drifting off of prograde here. I think at this point, we are better off to stop this burn and circularize it over here. So we would then do this. This is a much, much longer orbit. Okay, timing isn't ideal. What if we were to wait for a year here? I think that we need to wait less long than that. So if we were to bring it around over this direction-ish, there is, I think, a wait a year component in this. Yes. So if we were to bring this around here, and yeah, it's saying that we don't have this, but that's actually wrong. This is almost ideal in terms of an intercept. Okay. So we come on over here, and, I mean, it's a very strange intercept, to be sure. We can see that this is our combined Duna lander relay. So we would want to bring this down a bit over here. And just change our inclination up a wee bit. That's much better inclination-wise. It's not perfect, but it'll get the job done. Like, if we were to set Ike as our target right now, we can see that we are... Well, we're coming in reverse. We're coming in retrograde. We would definitely want to bring that on around and come in prograde. Somewhere around here-ish. And then bring this up a smidge. 1.2 degrees. Okay, there's only so much that we can do here, looks like, in this exact position. So something like this would be fine. Yes, we're going to need to change our inclination a bit, but that should be doable. We're going to have a lot of extra fuel, and I'm a little bit concerned, actually, about how much extra fuel we're going to have in these side tanks, potentially. Because I'm a little concerned about burning this off. Why did we just switch camera modes? That was weird. I'm a little concerned about being able to land on this rocket engine with this amount of fuel here. I don't think we have a way in KSP to vent fuel. Although we could pretend that we could vent fuel and I could, like, modify the fuel amounts in the save file, I think. I think that's a doable thing. Theoretically. It sounds tedious, though. So let's line up for this node. And we're going to make our way on over there. This is going to be about a 27-minute long burn, which is pretty lengthy, no doubt about that. And we've got a big old time warp before then. So that's odd. Hang on. What is happening here? Stop this burn. Are we still orbiting Kerbin? Apparently we're still orbiting Kerbin. We didn't quite break free of Kerbin. So this was that bug where it adjusts your orbit. And it adjusted it a lot. Wow, okay. So around the periapsis, I guess we're just going to have to do a prograde burn. This is actually good. This allows us to burn off more fuel. But look at how much that actually changed our orbit by. 150 meters per second? That's insane. That's absolutely insane. Okay, if we were to push out now, what would this end up looking like for an encounter? I mean, it's still terrible. So we would want to bring this back and have it be out over here. Sure. I mean, 233 meters per second is... It's slightly annoying that we have to do this again because of the update on the warp bug, right? But... I mean, ultimately, it's a good thing to have to burn this fuel, because I am concerned about trying to land on all this. So we pin this guy open, and then we would pin these guys open over here, with the idea being that we're just going to have all four of these open, and then we do in here, like that. Okay, let's warp forward to when we're actually going to start this burn. It's going to be about an 8-minute burn, which is a pretty lengthy one, no doubt about that. And let's warp forward a little bit further. 30 seconds, 20, 10, and commencing the burn. It's a very, very gentle burn, for sure. And we'll just keep this tank topped off like that. Beautiful. So we are going to physics warp as we burn through this, but it's going to be, like, even with physics warp, about a 2-minute burn. So it's going to be a bit up there. I'm going to not make you guys sit through this. We'll be back as soon as this burn is over. See you guys in a moment. Okay, so here we are approximately at the end of this burn. We are actually still burning here, but this is only sort of showing up. We are in escape velocity now, and we're pushing our way out towards the end of this burn. It's actually drawing from these tanks slightly unevenly, which I consider to be strange, but whatever. That's fine for the moment. I'm not too concerned about that. We're going to come out of physics warp here shortly. We've got about 15 meters per second to go in this maneuver. 20 seconds. 10 seconds. Dropping out of physics warp. And 3, 2, 1. And that's good enough. Beautiful. So we'll just top off this tank. We're still chilling at 906 meters per second right now. Our meter per second amount is actually going up. I don't know why it's not draining from these evenly. I definitely would have expected it to. But whatever. We'll be on kill rot. And at this moment, I almost hit space there accidentally. I just want to make sure that I didn't accidentally stage anything. That would have been bad. Let's quick save that just in case. But we are going to add a maneuver here and look to circularize this. We'll see what a Duna intercept would end up looking like. It's probably terrible. That is indeed terrible. That, on the other hand, isn't bad looking. So we can bring that around to be somewhere up over here-ish. Much like we were looking at before. Somewhere up here would be pretty ideal. Yeah, let's just dial that in. That looks ideal right there. Let's see what we've got. We'll have to tweak this, of course. And we're, of course, going to set Ike as our target here. I believe we're coming in retrograde to Ike, so we'll need to alter that. We want to come in on this side. And we can see we're 77 degrees off on our ascending node. We can certainly alter that by bringing this guy on up. Actually, that's really close to an encounter right there. Interesting. We might be able to dial that in as well. So bring this up. That's currently 7.9 degrees off. That's 2 degrees off. That is an Ike encounter. That's not bad. I believe Ike is orbiting this direction, so we'd probably be retrograde to it. Feels reasonably okay. But we could bring it around if we wanted to. Or we could just flip our rotation here, right? We could flip our orbit here, and that would be absolutely fine. The reason that that would be fine, of course, is because we have so much extra delta V, and we want to probably burn some off. So this isn't going to be until like 2 years and 25 days in the future. It's also going to be a pretty long burn time to get us there. So that's going to be exciting. No doubt about that. And we may have to waste some fuel over Ike as well. Because we can't ditch any like weight here, right? We're just going to need to get this thrust to weight up high enough. Well, let's get started on this time warp. And it's going to be a long warp. It's also going to be... Oh, seriously? It did it again. Okay, this is getting really irritating. It changed our orbit again. Yeah, we're getting captured by the moon here, but we shouldn't be, is the thing. We shouldn't be. We're going to have to go over to prograde, I guess. And this is really actually very irritating. We're basically at the apoapsis right now, but if we had kept warping, the moon would have tossed us into an impact trajectory. I really wish it would just give us accurate predictions. That would be awfully nice, but apparently that's too much to ask for. We're just going to burn prograde here at the apoapsis. Yeah, we're currently like an hour away from the apoapsis, but that's fine. I'm just going to burn prograde here. And we're just going to push ourselves out this way. I guess we need to burn off fuel anyway, so may as well, right? We're finding these great intercepts, though, and then it's just completely breaking. I'm getting kind of tired of that. I'm not going to lie. So we're just going to push prograde here and not intercept the moon. That would be nice. Technically, this would be a gravity assist here. I'm not sure if this directionality would be good. It's difficult to say. If we were to warp right now, would that break it? No. I just want to escape from Kerbin. That's all I want right now. Just escape from Kerbin. This has been a lot of bad predictions. So I'd like to just warp out to here. Let's get this moon encounter, and let's see what this is looking like. It looks like this one's stable. So I guess we'll find our actual route over to Duna in the next episode, and we'll just get free from Kerbin right now. Because I've tried to find 2 encounters now, and it just keeps breaking our orbit. So we're just going to get a gravity assist past the moon here, and get flung on out of the Kerbin system. We'll do this way. It's fine. So we're loading back into Kerbin now, and at this point, we want to warp to be out of the Kerbin system. So that's in 385 days. We'll warp here. That's in 6 days. Cool. Now that we're out of the Kerbin system, our low thrust to weight shouldn't be hurting us like this anymore to a significant position. We'll move this fuel in that we burned off. We're still warping. There we go. Now we'll move that fuel in. Cool. And at this point, we can find ourselves an actual trip out to Duna. In theory. Well, we know when our previous one was. We know it was going to be around over here. Although we're quite a bit lower because of that intercept, which is awkward. Sure. We know it's going to be up over this direction. About like this. It is definitely timed slightly differently. And yes, the game is saying we're not going to have the Delta V to do this, but it's flat wrong. We have the Delta V. The game is just very confused about how we're using our Delta V, which is fair enough. That is fair enough. So I guess we'll get this encounter. I'm going to warp right now and see if it breaks. It does not break. Good. Looking at Duna, we can dial in this encounter a little bit, but we'll do the way I'm going to do it is that we're going to have an episode break, and I want to set Ike as our target here. We're going to have an episode break, and we're going to have this burn virtually done by the time we come back, because this is going to be a really, really long burn, right? So I want to check here. This is 12.2 degrees. We can continue to dial that in a bit. Okay. That's about as good as we're going to get there. We can dial it in a little bit more, but we could see if we can get an intercept. At this point, I'd be a little bit surprised. Actually, that was an intercept there, wasn't it? Bring that right back around. Yep, that's an intercept right there. Cool. So we're gonna target this, and we'll see if we can get this intercept next episode. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, James, Shadowwolf, MLohan80, Ro Corvid, Kentogan, Andy Magar, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.